Hello and welcome to this video where we're gonna turn our attention towards the integrated steering and servo mount of your Awesomatix A800. Pretty straightforward build with a couple subtleties nonetheless. First, we're gonna prep the steering belt crank. There is many iterations of this part, AM180, AM180 Evo, AM180 Evo 2, but either way, the build process is the same. So I'm gonna grab the, install the AT21, secure them with the 5mm flathead screw. We're gonna make sure the AT21 fits in this small groove. Push it with one finger, and we're gonna go fully tight like so. And since these screws are a bit hard to access, don't hesitate to go quite tight. It's very unlikely you will ever need to remove these AT21s. We're gonna grab the ST24 ball stud. It needs 1.5mm shim. Don't overlook these because this spacer allows the servo link to clear the steering links during its travel, so very important. 1.5mm spacer. At this stage you can insert the eccentric, grab a 10mm button head screw, a 0.5 spacer, and we can install the complete assembly onto the servo mount. So we're gonna wiggle it around until the eccentric finds its place into its groove, like so. And the initial recommended command position is fully back, like so. So this position is gonna provide the most amount of command, that is the inner wheel is turned more than the outer wheel, giving the car a bit less response off center, and the way the front end loses traction is a bit more predictable. At this stage you have the option to install this aluminum screw, the SBX 5x3 AL. It goes in this hole in there. It can act as a travel limiter. It will limit the maximum travel of the inner wheel at around 24 or 25 degrees, but most of the team drivers actually run without this screw because it can happen that sometimes you need a bit more steering lock. So to give ourselves the option to have a bit more steering lock, we run without the screw. At this stage you want to check the vertical play in the bearings from the belt crank. It can happen that the play is a little excessive. In that case you can use a 0.1mm shim spacer that you want to insert in between the eccentric and the steering belt crank. And at the same time, when the car is aging over the life of the bearing, it is likely that this play will increase, and at some stage you will have to use a spacer to minimize the play. But in our case the play is close to zero, it's perfectly free, so we're good to go. At this stage we can pop in the steering links. As I mentioned in the build video for the steering links, I want all my links to face the same direction. That is, if I move the wrench towards the front of the car, I'm gonna reduce the length, and vice versa. Moving the wrench towards the rear of the car, the length is gonna increase. To achieve that, you want the hole in the turnbuckle to face towards the right side of the car. So this is gonna go that way. This one goes that way. Perfectly free, no play. Same thing for the servo link. Turnbuckle hole towards the right side of the car, like so. And finally, this is the holes where you're gonna mount the servo. And for these screws, I highly recommend using some thread lock. Especially when you use a plastic case servo, you don't want these screws to be fully tight. So we're gonna use thread lock already for when you plan on installing a servo. But as in our example, we're building the car without a servo for now. We're gonna just leave the screws hanging in there. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it. The servo mount and steering assembly ready to be installed in the car. Hope you liked it. See you guys in the later video. Ciao, ciao.